There's an air of weary expectation in the orbital tonight. People are seated in small groups, and they can be seen taking off their mag boots one at a time and massaging their feet, almost as if they weren't used to walking long distances on planets that would have frustrated Goldilocks as they were always too hot or too cold. Gal Bay is bulging with items for sale as people try to rid themselves of flight suits that they don't want, or think that they can buy cheaper once there are more stores open. And the black market for second-hand rifles and handguns has never been so lucrative. The smell of bunion cream wafts down the corridors, but doesn't cover the aroma of feet that have been squashed into the same pair of boots for 4 weeks. In the corner of the room, someone gets out a harmonica and starts playing There's No Place Like Home, until he's clubbed into unconsciousness by people who love music and hate cliches. A handful of pilots wearily trudge past our viewpoint as they cross the threshold of Studio 5, sit down, and utter a collective sigh of relief. A man who has not been seen at Hutton for weeks stabs vainly at some buttons in the forlorn hope that one of them will light up and capture him saying these barely remembered words.
Our mics are, I hope, live. Good evening and welcome to another Thursday evening with the team over at Hutton Orbital. Flown in by special Apex taxi this evening, we've got...
Harry Balzac. My driver kept trying to talk about galactic politics. Wouldn't shut up about this Nova Imperium lot.
I just asked mine if he'd just started his shift. He gave me the look. And will my finger do?
Well, it is a long way to Hutton, and they work on a fixed rate for supercruise journeys. I'm Wanker. He shouted my name when he pulled up to Bonkers, and half of the deck crew turned round, quite angry.
You lot got a taxi? I was flown there by Stretch Orca. Had lots more leg room and a minibar.
And, yes, on that note, I suppose it's time for us to, mash the bongs. Alex Zuno chooses his favourite ship, and you won't believe what he picked. Whee! Wrong one. Let's try that one again.
Seamless.
Bong.
Seamless.
Bong.
As friends of Alvin will attest, knowing a barker can't always save you.
If you want to complain, you haven't got a leg to stand on.
Cocktails? If you can make one or tell one, you're in.
It's doing it again. It's doing it again. Stop it
Seamless.
quick. It's
Bong.
that noise again. Bong.
Make out how to take out the fake out and break out, outbreak.
News, views and cruise smooth with updates from the community.
Alex Zuno is lonely at the top. At least we think he must be. Week after week, with no one coming close to his bounty totals, has left him in a position where he must feel a little bit like Alexander. No, not the one from Pointless with a very tall friend, nor the one with the ragtime band, the one that was quoted by Hans Gruber, the Great. Saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. This was the inspiration for his missive to the truckers, which we covered on the show 2 weeks ago, where he promised not to claim any bounties for a few weeks, but more importantly to share some of his knowledge so that others might aspire to the Olympian heights of his pirate sheddingness. Alex Zuno, word Bond. You can fill in the rest, and true enough, a rough first draft of his words of wisdom is being written onto tablets of iron torn from the decks of the ships of his enemies. Hammered into shape, using glancing blows from his plasma cannons, and the pearls of wisdom etched an inch deep using a solution made from the distilled blood of 1,000,000 pirates. Also HTML. This couldn't be more warlike if it were written in Klingon, published in Westeros, and carried by a skinny old man with a long white beard hanging down below his loincloth, and wearing a patch over one eye. So, grasshoppers, prepare to be amazed. Practice saying, "We're not worthy," and "Thank you, sir," whilst doffing your remlocks, as you gaze upon the crumbs of wisdom for the Zuno's table. And maybe, just maybe, you'll come out of it a little bit better at beating the Dastardly Don's minions. Go to bit.ly/Zuno what to do. I'm sure one of the team's going to publish that in chat as well. But bit.ly/Zuno what to do. And do remember that there's more to come, including a video, assuming we can find a lens wide angle enough to take in all of the carnage.
Commander Thraween, where shall we start? We should start in George's pants, apparently. Zamka platform, to be precise, and with some very dodgy cargo. We're asked to be kind and forgiving, as apparently the lady in question was recovering from surgery, or some such likely excuse, but I ask you, would that have been enough to cause these errors? Or should the finger be pointed more determinedly at the self-medication administered in the form of rum? Illegal cargo, expired missions, scans, red-faced dumping of cargo in the no-fire zone, all added up to a bad day for Thraween, but a good day for Hutton Orbital Truckers Cooperative, as we raked in what I believe is known as a shed-load of fines. Presumably they call that because they're fines for a shed load? No? Suit yourself. The commander decided that penance was required, not least because the family name is already besmirched across half the galaxy, and Commanders Ed Hunter, NEMB, and Lirili, quite frankly, can't afford to have their names associated with any more shady dealings. Commander Thraween, her head full of tales of the orbital, instead of rum, reckoning that, as she was already in the doghouse, she should go and visit the galaxy's most famous doghouse, Hutton Orbital, home of the galaxy's only canine faction leader. Accompanied by NEMB, Lirili, an infinite dreamer, Thraween took her first Hutton selfie on Sunday evening, paid her fines, and has promised to make the Centauri Megagin last, at least until Ed Hunter's birthday, or today, whichever comes sooner.
The entire galaxy is legless. Again. We have our feet up, boots off, and bums firmly back in our seats as the simulators have gone offline. After weeks of experiencing, albeit via HoloMe, the joys of being able to step outside and stand on atmospheric worlds under colourful skies, commanders throughout the galaxy have once again been relegated back to their cockpits and experiencing the wonders of the universe through a slightly scratched, smudgy, and in some cases smashed, canopy screen. The Pilots Federation have stated that they've now got everyone's feedback. They've watched the shenanigans, filled out the health and safety forms, worked out what wage an Apex taxi driver should actually get, and have shut down atmospheric planetary landings for a few weeks whilst they prepare. The Brewer Corporation has provided a fleet of specially modified carriers to transport all the prefab buildings to locations throughout the galaxy. The suit manufacturers have warehouses full of their patented one-size-fits-all outfits for setting foot on planets. And specialist teams are being prepared to defend bases, mop up behind all your embarrassing spills, and of course take umbrage at the slightest thing before attempting to turn you into an inanimate object with extreme prejudice. For those commanders who are itching to get back to their feet and tromp around a planet, kicking up dust, kicking rocks, and cutting the locks, it looks like they'll only have to wait a couple of weeks. Hutton Orbital's administration team are recruiting a team to provide a deep exploration of Hutton-controlled space as soon as that is possible, identifying, cataloguing, and photographing our new assets as swiftly as possible.
Speaking of recruitment, the progenitor Lael Wolf of Hutton Orbital, mistress of the missions and stern-faced head of operations, has put out a recruitment call for some new roles at Hutton stations. She is hunting for new staff members for the 66 stations that Hutton controls, including smooth-talking bar stewards with a penchant for dodgy dealing. Not that we'd condone that sort of thing. Used ship salespeople to occupy the inter-astra desks. Need to be familiar with the words. Only one careful owner comes with a warranty. You won't see one in better condition, Governor, but I've got someone already interested in this one, so you'll have to hurry. 66 Apex taxi control desk staff who can repeat the phrase, computer says no. Armaments desks are open to applications from any ex-military service personnel who can tell the difference between the business end of a rifle and the bit that tucks into your shoulder. And for those who can't, there's always Frontline Solutions, where all you have to do is stuff people into a waiting vulture and wish them good luck. We understand that Vista Genomics will be providing their own expert biologists for the stations. Probably a good thing, as all that paperwork makes us yawn a bit. Floor mopping guy is looking for a bunch of assistants for the washing facilities in the social areas. He's a little concerned about the glass doors, but modesty isn't what it used to be back in the 3240s. Lael is also purported to be looking for a large collection of pot plants, bar tables, and of course some second-hand computer screens to dot around the stations. If you know anyone who fits the bill, then drop by Lael's office with their CV. That's a resume if you're on the night shift, and one of those waiver forms that mean everything is your own silly fault. And you never know, you might just get one of your friends a job.
That funny distraction feeling has gone away. It's like it was never really there. Did I imagine it? Will it ever come back? I don't know. Anyway, enough of being distracted by distractions. Only 3 systems are below 40% this week. The usual underachiever, basket case of basket cases, Barnard Star, has sunk so low that none other than 10th Fleet are challenging Hutton in an election. At stake is Miller Depot, but should Hutton win, the prize is Cutner's Pride, a surface station. Following alongside Barnard Star in the shallow end of the Hutton Systems League, with only a semi-deflated set of water wings between them to keep them afloat, are Wolf 1481 and PSPF-LF2. Chuckers, we need you to make a determined effort to rescue these drowning systems, pump the influence up into the 40s at least, don the budgie smugglers of salvation and dive in and save our systems. 2 of the systems have adverse states this week. The regular infrastructure has occurred in WISE 0855-07 war as scheduled. Fleet carriers are on station at Yamazaki Landing, stocked with dodgily wired power generators and second-hand water purifiers, all at very reasonable prices and of dubious quality. There is another outbreak pending in Epsilon Eridani, so truck in medicines for a second dose, as the outbreak will break out imminently. As you all know, Hutton always aims high, but this time we were off by 125. Once again, we had set our sights on Wolf 562, but misfired and ended up in Wolf 437, only 125 out, which would be nice, but this most certainly is not cricket. Oh well, nothing to do there except apologise, back towards the door and attempt another googly. At the top end of the Hutton System League, 6 systems are above 60%, and it looks like not just the Mad Monks have been on the tonic wine in Van Marlen Star, as they are on 75. Meanwhile, in Colonia, Inspector Hankey, he of the deregulated Colonia bus service, reports that all is well, unscheduled and tickety-boo, but asks that the upstairs passengers don't throw things out of the fleet carrier windows and are to keep their feet off the seats. We still need to leave Hotel Carson, where complaints have been received about commanders hanging around the public spaces, distractedly gazing out of the windows with 1,000 light-year stare, chain-smoking cigarettes, wondering when their distractions will be back and why their feet are so sore. Priorities this week: if you want to truck something, win the election in Barnard's Star, then boost Hutton influence in Wolf 1481 and PSPF-LF2. Relieve the infrastructure failure in WISE 0855-0714 and the outbreak in Epsilon Eridani. That little lot should keep you all busy and take your minds off Odyssey. If you want to shoot something, take advantage of Alex Zuno putting up his feet for a while, or try the Pew Pew CGs, which Flossy will talk about soon. We still need to exit Carson, so help any of the factions there, except Hutton.
Events created and led by the Elite Dangerous community are dear to our hearts, so here is the news of those that we know about. Eris Maidlung and the fleet carrier Isfahan, having made little progress over the last few weeks as the captain was busily discovering just how far it is to walk anywhere in the station hangar, let alone way out at the edge of the galaxy, is asking for all of his errant passengers to come back aboard in order to head back to the bubble for the opening of all the new shiny shops on May the 19th before heading back out. So if you're listening to this and Eris Maidlung took you on a trip out the middle of nowhere, it's time to head back to the carrier if you want to come back the easy way. Last week, Commander Valerian gave us an insight into the first few days of his event, so here's part 2. The final stages of Baz's Big Bubble Banter Bus Anniversary Tour took us a little further out, firstly to the Perseus Dark Region, KC-V C2-2, where the science vessel Hesperus, missing for almost 200 years, has been found, and it was not alone. She was accompanied by a Dredger-class megaship from the Scriveners clan. The Dredger was busy sucking everything in front of it towards a massive set of spinning teeth deep inside the ship. It has been confirmed by one of our brave pilots that an SLF does not have the thrust to escape being minced. An accidental weapons discharge by Commander Verlaine also confirmed that dredgers are very heavily armed. Saturday was a quiet night on the bus, and just 2 commanders made their way out to the Guardian Beacon for some blueprints and material harvesting. Sunday wrapped up the tour with canyon racing in Pomesh. High-speed flying, manoeuvring and rebuys were almost as plentiful as the banter. An enormous thank you to all the truckers who took part and supported us. It was a pleasure to fly with you all. Same time next year? Commander Mephisto sends this report. In the 8th week that the Comfy Cannon cruise made its way to Magellan's Star, the most eastern system, 44,000 light-years from Sol. The features of the week's waypoints were different silicate and ice crystals, as well as an assortment of quadriparitite and bismuth pods, additionally another kind of anomaly. Commander Chrisblade 64 left the cruise earlier and completed his 27,000 light-years long way back in an unengineered dolphin this week. As it is a jump range of only 27 light-years, it took him over 1,000 jumps. The rest of the passengers have made their temporary home on the Konsu, except for a few, eagerly awaiting the upcoming route change to visit Colonia region to go from board there. The cruise will have its stop in Asura, hopefully in time for when the Pilots Federation begins handing out their walking permits, and will stay there for a few weeks to allow us for shore leave. News of the upcoming events now. First, on May 22nd at 2100 BST, that's 2000 UTC, Commander Venezia has organised what he's calling the Texas Lakon Massacre, and he describes it thus. In honour of all that Bucknaked has done on the radio show for the Hutton truckers and his love of Lakon spaceways, we are hosting something a little crazy. We will be using a T7 to mine and act as bait for pirates in a Hazres in Wolf 1481. The T7 will be escorted by 2 small ships and a medium ship of your choosing. The goal is to defend the T7 while it mines and racks up some bounties with the escort ships. Who will be massacred? Will it be the T7 and escorts, or all of the naughty pirates? Come to the event to find out. This event is for all platforms, and the number of T7s will depend on the number of pilots that turn up. Details are on our Facebook page, which will be given in the chat. In just a few weeks, the group known as the Deep Space Network are setting off on an expedition that they've named Artemis Biological Survey 2, which they say will depart from the Veil Nebula west and across the surrounding areas of the inner Orion Spur, passing through a series of waypoints particularly interesting in terms of biological and geological research. The objective of the expedition is to explore the stellar systems along the way in search of new biological features and exceptional geological formations in partnership with Vista Genomics, Universal Cartographics. They depart June the 4th and return July the 11th. The expedition will be supported by the fleet carrier DSN Phileas Fogg, and details, including their Discord, being operated jointly in English and in French, can be found at bit.ly/Artemis Survey 2. Talking of things French, on Bastille Day, 14th of July, Emperor Hanky is partying only the way he can, only the way he'd want to. The event starts at 7 AM BST, that's 6 AM UTC, and the poster is put up on the wall reads like this. Emperor Hanky is throwing a big party to celebrate the launch of his 6th carrier. You're all invited. There's going to be Oompa Loompas, fancy fish and chips and loads of booze. Did I mention the Oompa Loompas? Problem is, our beloved Emperor went over the top on the options on the new carrier, and it has a rather loud sound system with fancy RGB lights and everything. So loud we're going to big up points so we don't disturb the galaxy in general, and especially the mighty Tharg, as he might blow a few stations out of existence in an attempt to stop the racket. Schedule is on the Facebook events page, and Hanky is doing the jump so you don't have to. He's on a tight schedule, so don't be late for any of the stops or you'll have a long way to go. Again, the post will be in the chat. Nice to see new events in this list, and we always want to hear about any that you, the community, are organising.
And we're back in the studio. Chix, your sound effect has invaded the news. You were just saying earlier that you were sick of hearing that sound. Not the blah blah blah.
Oh, the
blah,
music.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, I did just. I've got a button marked Chix, and I've got a second button marked Chix. You see, and I pushed the button marked Chix, and it did.
I think you
Chix's
have 100% too many buttons.
Yeah, well, I have 2 Chixes. That's the problem.
You ever thought about putting a picture behind one of them, with one with a big cross, meaning don't press this one?
Yes.
Oh, no, I've got them on different panels entirely. It's just that I got the Chix and the Chix muddled up, you see.
Too many chicks.
Too many
And the
chicks
Chix
will
are
spoil
free.
the broth, yes. Oh, dear. And anyway, so welcome to the studio and welcome to Commander Chix, and thank you very much for your update on Hutton systems there.
Thank you.
So Barnard Star again.
Yes. Well, we
Again.
did stand to gain something. It was the Mad Monks last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we get out of the war. The trouble is,
that was somewhere else.
everybody else is in war with each other, which means we can't raise our influence because it's all locked up. Which means they do it again and again and again.
It's funny because 99% of Barnard Star influence is now locked up.
There's some poor faction languishing on 1%. Luckily, they're local.
I was just trying to look, actually.
Yeah,
It's not letting
it's
me.
not the Soul Workers Party, and it's not one of the
It's the Barnard Star Crimson Society, and to add insult to injury, they're on 1%, and they're in outbreak at the same time.
It's not going to do them any harm. I mean, there's only so much outbreak you can get before. Oh, I'm just going to be sick for a bit now.
The rest of the board is just red.
Yes,
It's crazy.
But I mean, generally speaking, it's stable. And there was an expansion this week.
There was.
Yes.
The wrong system, but
Yeah, and we landed in
Wolf 437.
Wolf 437, which just so happens to not be filled with anybody that we really want to be contesting with, like NPC factions. It is actually filled by the Alliance. Was it 4521 Combine or something? Which is
Yeah,
a
Alliance
pseudonym.
Combine, yeah.
It's a pseudonym.
Is it?
Yes, they're also known as the AEDC. You remember them, don't you? Somebody remembers who the AEDC are, don't they? They're the ones who try to take Lave. Yes.
Before my time.
Yes, so they're the ones who tried to take Lave off Lave Radio and were prevented from doing so. But we don't really want to conflict with those guys because it is actually theirs, that one. So,
Yeah.
I think somebody posted up a little meme of the young child walking into the room and then pulling the face and then turning around rapidly and leaving. Yes, I think we're going to do that one because we don't want to fight, really, do we?
Well, no.
No.
We need to pick our fights.
No, exactly.
No,
we don't.
don't, and it's very difficult to say that when you're winking. No.
Yes. No, it's also the system's not very interesting and it hasn't got anything we want either, and it hasn't got any silly names in it, so it's not really a Huttonish kind of place. It's more of an Alliance kind of place.
It's got one outpost, Bunsen platform. You can guess who that's named for.
Yes,
And
it's on the back burner.
Yes, and we already have a Vert survey.
And we don't really want it.
359 or somewhere, I can't remember. But we've already got one of those, so we don't want it.
No, so AEDC, if you're listening, no, it's not bots, and no, we don't want it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, and thank you very much also to Flossy for your update on the community stuff. So there's lots of things. Most of it's around sort of exploring and visiting things at the moment, isn't it? All the community events.
Yeah. True.
You think everybody's just sort of heading out there for a little bit, waiting and biding their time a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
We've had enough of things.
And you've got some community goal news coming for us in a bit as well?
Yes, I have, yes.
It's community goals, it's not initiative. You're not showing any initiative this week, it's just community goals.
I think they're fizzled out.
Well, they were mentioned earlier, actually, during the Frontier live stream. Yes, I think Arv and Dav were mentioning some of the stuff they have to do for competing sort of CGs during an interstellar initiatives thing. So Dav did dredge up the old initiatives, but it was good to see Dav on stream. Well, a bit more on that in a little bit, and then sitting next to you we have Amelia. Good evening, Amelia.
Good evening.
And you've got a different kind of rare for us this week later in the show, don't you?
I do. Something that could be classed as alternative even.
Yeah, it's a bit cyberpunk.
It is a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a wild animal that's going to eat you, and it's not a plant that's going to drain you, and it's not a food that's going to poison you.
Thankfully.
And it's not a bunch of crystals that are going to cut you into shreds.
Thankfully.
So this one's not actually that dangerous. I don't think it's that dangerous this week.
I don't like it when you say that. Oh, it's not this and it's not that. So when you look at foodstuffs, you look at the packaging and it says contains no preservatives. That means it's full of sugar and colour. It's what they're not telling you is the dangerous bit. So never mind what he's telling you it doesn't have.
Well, we
That's
know
just
we
leave
know
you a
we're
false sense of
relatively safe
security.
because no one's gonna sort of drop anything dangerous at the same time. I mean, Loose Knockers has been off for a while, so I mean, most of the danger is sort of self-imposed in his case. So he's not sat near you, he's not here. So I think
He would be very dangerous if he was near Amelia when she's testing this stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
you'll need to stay tuned and see.
Will do, yes. But other than that, you've been well.
Yes, I'm well.
And you've been to visit Nurse Wyeth and more stabbings and jabbings, or not more stabbings and jabbings? No, you've had one, haven't you?
I've had one. It was the worst 3 days ever.
Were you a bit rough?
Oh, rough is an understatement.
And how about your better half? Was your better half sort of no sympathy whatsoever and felt fine?
Didn't affect her at all.
So no sympathy.
She got stabbed and it was like nothing happened. It's just a little prick.
Yeah. So you were called a big worse and told to pull yourself together.
Yes, pretty much.
Or were you given hot soup and they're there?
But she started panicking when I broke into a fever and got the cold sweats and couldn't move off the sofa.
Oh, that wasn't the dodgy kebab you had the night before then?
No, that wasn't. We didn't have any dodgy kebabs at all, which is so disappointing, really, because at least then I could have justified enduring the pain.
Exactly. This is self-inflicted. So yeah, no, there's none
exactly.
of that. Yeah. You get the collie wobbles after. I haven't had a dodgy kebab in a year. Talking of dodgy kebabs, hello, Commander Palantir.
Good evening.
Yes, as our resident chef. I'm sure you've got your own super chef take on how to make an edible dodgy kebab.
Yeah, not a bad one. Actually, using a pressure cooker, not a bad one.
You put a whole elephant's leg in a pressure cooker.
No, you take the bone out first. Oh
Right.
no, or you could leave the bone, I suppose, for it to rotate around.
Well, I mean, you've got to be able to use that electric carving knife you were given in the 3270s for something.
I did have one. I actually bought one about 10 years ago and gave it away about 8 years ago.
Having completely not used it for anything apart from that one Sunday roast immediately afterwards. And then, yeah.
Yes, and then thinking, I could use it for this frozen item. No, I bloody can't. Right, put that away before you lose an arm.
Yes. Well, see, because Amelia would use it for scaring the postman. But I don't think he's ever going to come back, that guy. He's gone.
He hasn't. I think he's gone.
Amelia doesn't need anything that can be plugged in to scare the postman. She can manage quite happily with battery-operated items.
And
don't even need batteries.
Always use it.
Deary me. So other than that, some of you have been tinkering with your feet. I mean, your legs. You know what I mean.
It's okay.
Yep.
He's not here. We can talk about it.
Yes, I know. The apology officer's got a week off.
Mm.
Definitely not.
I know.
Is that a week off, like a fisherman's friend, or a week off?
A week off. You should have had your vaccine.
Are you suffering with Hutton burnout?
Are you suffering with Hutton burnout? Oh dear.
From sitting in a cockpit for too long?
I think this is what's up with the apology officer.
Your cockpit? Did you spill your coffee last time you were interdicted?
No.
At Hutton Orbital, Wanda's pilots
What's this about cockpit and interdicted? I don't know.
To de-stress after a hard day's trucking.
We like de-stressing.
Our patented scrap-built vibrating massage chairs will
say.
soothe away your aches and pains.
Full
A foot
haptic
spa
crotch.
and manicure will revitalise you, ready for your next trip. Or simply recline in one of Wanda's spacious hammocks for a much-needed power nap. Whilst you relax, our team of fully insured sanitation agents will scrub the inside of your cockpit, leaving nothing behind but a pleasant smell of fresh linen. Forget about the ship's wear and tear. Take care of yourself at Wanda's, the furthest you'll ever go to relax.
And that's where the apology officer's gone to. Yes. The apology officer has gone to Wanda's. It doesn't sound like a bad place, actually. I mean, there are rumours. There are rumours about that place, but it's they are just rumours. Nothing dodgy goes on there at all.
Except at the
No
end.
matter how you spell Wanda, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, we've been people been sort of walking around and testing their legs, and then had to put the legs away for a bit. I mean, that was mentioned during the news, but do you miss your legs? That's the question. I do.
I don't.
You don't.
Yes, I do.
No, because I am a VR player. and I can't do it in VR.
You can. It just gives you a slightly different view.
Not quite the same, yes.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to go and sit down and watch the telly, sit down and watch
Well, I
something on
heard
a
it
flat
was
screen.
sort of working in VR, a few rough edges, but yeah. So how about you, Flossy? I mean, have you given up, throwing grenades at people and taking out your rifle and pew-pewing them into itty-bitty bits?
Not that I ever did any of that, really.
Oh, lies. I saw you with the machine gun in the library. I mean, Professor Plum is never going to be the same again. He really isn't.
Professor's what?
Professor Plum.
What part of the professor is not going to be the same?
You leave Eros Maidling out of this. Yes, the Professor's plums are never going to be the same. But yeah, I must admit, having stopped now, I miss my taxi. Do you know what? I miss the taxi. I'm done now.
You don't miss the taxi. You miss being chauffeured.
I do miss being chauffeured. Yes. I mean, Flossie was chauffeured here aboard her, her private stretched orca.
Yeah, because the chauffeur doesn't give you a horrible look if you haven't given him a 5-star review.
Yeah, but also the orca doesn't have that funny smell in the back and a sticky floor.
Does after I've been in it.
Well, this one hadn't.
Dodgy kebab.
I mean, we had to share the taxi on the way here, and there was Palantir on the little flap down seat, which is decidedly unsafe. I'm sorry, I had my little flap down. Sorry. Yes, and the rest of us hanging on for dear life in the back as he sort of took the loop of shame.
And that was very uncomfortable.
Yes. But sorry, I missed the taxi, missed the legs. But yeah, it's going to be a couple of weeks. Is it 19th, something like that? Some of us get our 19th. Legs back, and then the apology officer can sulk a little bit more. Yeah. Now, obviously, when that lands, I tell you what, I've got a little video to put on the background while we're talking about that. Just let's try pushing this button. Is it going to be really noisy? No, it's not. There we go. For the viewer, there's a great big picture, reminiscent of some film. Anyway, so
are we going to describe it for the people who are listening to the podcast?
No, this is a bonus for people who are watching. No. There's just.
They are watching. They are second class, but they should have something.
Well, there's a big thing, and it says "We break for nobody."
And it goes whoosh over the top, and
And hang on, I think it's making some noise. Let's just double check.
They can log into Twitch if they want to see it.
You can hear it. There you go. That's the noise. It sounds big, doesn't it? But if ever you wanted a reason to watch our video channel instead of listening to the radio, then working out what that big noise was one of them.
Sounds to me like Cubicle 3 building up for another blow.
It does, yes. But yeah, this was a video we put together last weekend, just showing quite how big the Corvette is when it's flying over your head at a height of sub 10 meters and a very slow speed. It's big. I mean, it doesn't look that big when you're in an SRV. I'll tell you that for free.
Do you have to turn off the shields to do that?
No. We did it, and we took 2 takes because the first time he sort of rubbed the top of his head with the shields and it glowed blue a bit. But yeah. But
I thought you could have had some fun there. Just lowered your landing gear and clobbed him on the back of the head.
We did try a few of those things, yes. And obviously, if you go over with the Python, you can put that your chin gun out. The one that's underneath and clobber people in the head, and obviously or flap down the cargo scoop. That's quite a good one. There's a satisfying clang as it hits somebody's head.
Yeah, I mean, if you target the pilot, you can scoop them up. Yes.
It doesn't tend to work. There tends to be sort of boom, arg, and red everywhere. A bit like climbing on top of one of Flossie's ships just as she's taking off.
Yeah, red. A good idea. That
red everywhere. Yeah.
Pink mist.
Yes. No, didn't miss. That's the problem. So yeah, that's arriving on the 19th. Now, we've got a couple of things we're going to need people to do and prep for. So in the couple of days before the 19th, we do need to get a few commanders stationed conveniently in systems around Hutton, which is, I think it's 25 systems now, isn't it, Chix?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, because we've got 25 systems and 60 bases. With lots of new staff in them. But I mean, I've been doing some testing now. Alpha Centauri,
60 stations. We've got more. I think we've got another
the
surface.
Yeah,
but we
surface.
We don't control all of them, so I'd have to do.
60 we do control though.
Yep.
But yeah, so what we need to do is now. I know Alpha Centauri doesn't have any planets with new stuff on them in terms of the atmospheric planets. Eden is not landable. It is far too volcanic and all sorts. And the other planets we can already land on. So there might be some new bases there, but there are not going to be any new things in that system. Now, I do know that Van Manen star has a couple of icy worlds that are going to be opened up to being landed on. Very, very cold icy worlds.
There's only one in Van Valenstar, the planet 9, that you can't land on.
Yes.
It has the first world major is rocky, which is obviously landable, then the 8 of the other ices, but it's the 9th planet. So that's the only thing that might change.
Oh, is it only just one opening? Oh, yeah, there might be just one more. But anyway, what we need to do is we need to go and find all these planets and land on them and have a look at all of our... we might get a new science installation. We could be getting some agricultural stuff. We need to find all the interesting things that we've now
Not in
got
Van Marnens.
that belong to us. Oh, there's a tourist base. Or so. Isn't it a tourist economy?
There is, but it's a horrible... It's a white dwarf, so it's a horrible, dark place. But some of the others, looking at the G's and the K's...
Or maybe we'll find somewhere nice to fight over in Barnard Star to make it worth fighting.
George's Pants or Treppin.
Yeah, because GP is an extraction or refinery economy. It's got one of those beautiful refinery stations, hasn't it? The big ones with all of the sort of smelters and things inside the station. So
it's a nice K-type star.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing in the sort of days before everything goes down and back up again is positioning ourselves around Hutton space so that we can find what's our new stuff. What have we got? And what's everybody else got? And can we have it?
How do we get it?
Yes, and how do we get it? War, what's it good for? Well, yes.
Getting stuff.
Giving Flossy things not to do. Yeah. But other than that, who, if anybody, caught up with the Frontier live stream earlier?
Saw bits and pieces of it.
Bits and pieces. Well, it was a superstar guest star was on it. One of our favourites here, who's featured on this show as well. It was the turn of Dav Stotts to geek out a little bit about servers and server teams and how it all works and how they placed all of the new assets down on planets. I don't know whether anybody caught that bit about how they actually placed them all.
He says he's got a spreadsheet or a database, one of the two.
No. He actually
Excel, and he does it all.
Took over everybody's computers with a load of bots and left the bots running around the galaxy on planet surfaces, finding places that were flat enough to put things on. So they actually did it sort of some kind of crazy crowdsourced botnet to walk around the planets and find stuff. So, and he reckons there's something like 100,000 planets in the bubble that we can land on, something like that. So yes, his botnet of suborned computers was running around all planets trying to find flat spots to put things.
Distributed denial of surface.
Yes. Well, so as the AEDC were mentioned earlier, we can say there are actually bots, but they're helpful bots. They find things. They're not the kind that you think they are.
I'm Mr. Dusty.
Nor that one. And
Talking your trash.
Talking of Mr. Dusty, or we had to have a chat about Mr. Dusty before, but you've been doing some research for a future article, haven't you, Chix?
Next week's Van Marnen Star.
Now, Van Marnen Star has a long history, prehistory even. It's one of the.
Got 5 minutes.
No, well,
You've got to be mad to go there.
Yeah, got to be mad to go there. Well, it's one of the older mentioned systems back in the day, before before frameshift drives and everything. It's one of the long-standing ones, and we have history with the place as well. And we're looking forward to seeing what you dig up, just not from any tombs or anything. If you find any tombs, don't go near them.
I know, I was listening to that today.
Because you do know that they were the quite calm monks of Van Marnen Star until we ran into them.
I know, yes, and then they became the bloody furious get off my lawn mad monks of Van Marnen.
Originally, in 2480, they started out as the guardians of the free spirit religious sect, and the system was given to them by the Federation in 2480. Anyway, you're going to find all this out next week.
Yeah, and then there's the Sublime Order and
Free Spirit. That's why Cecil must have gone out if he'd heard Free
If anybody
Spirit.
wants some background reading before they hear that one next week, go and listen to the entirety of Escape Velocity, because it will make a lot more sense if you have.
I'm working my way through it.
Escape Velocity by Christopher Jarvis, obviously of the Radio Theatre Workshop, and as broadcast on Lave Radio's website. Woohoo! It is well worth listening to, and it's set was something like 500 years ago, isn't it? The story for that one.
Yes, and it's brilliant. And I think the way that Chris did it on a shoestring to start with, and then went back and used Patreon to help pay for a proper re-edit and getting official sounds and getting Verity to speak the lines and everything. Absolutely brilliant. I'm on his Patreon list.
When
So.
I get back to doing work and travelling across the country, I may well have to download some podcast versions of it as well. Yes, available at all good Lave Radio websites near you.
20. I think there are 3 series, 6 in each series, 20 minutes, so it's 6 hours.
Yes, yeah. So just about one drive to Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah. Give or take. So before we sort of move along to the next bit, and I work out whether I've actually got the right buttons programmed in this time, does anybody have anything else?
No, many people, I would think the majority of people, were doing a lot of time rushing around trying to play in alpha. And the people who weren't were busily trying to get on with stuff while everybody else's backs were turned, and that's all stopped now. And people are going, what am I going to do for the next 2 weeks then?
Well,
I've already
do know
told
some,
you.
We do know some people that might be able to tell us things that are going on. At least 2 people who are coming up soon. Mr. Chix, would you like to introduce the next bit? And I'm just going to hope that the right buttons go bong and things.
And now, dear listener, it's time for us to sit back and listen to the gurglings produced by the inner workings of the digestive systems of Commanders Beetlejude and Wotherspoon, the galaxy's first double act where they're both the straight man, but neither of them realizes.
Galnet News Digest, 6th of May, 3307. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Imperator calls for Imperial assistance. Hudson hails Snooper's charter success. The Hamster Wrangler.
Imperator Hadrian Duval has invoked the terms of the Paresa Treaty and called for assistance beating back this morning's attack on Nova Imperium by federal forces. The League of Mandu is acting on a tip-off that Imperator Hadrian Duval, the leader of Nova Imperium, was behind this series of starport bombings over the past 9 months. Their Harmony's Shield megaship, together with a fleet of Farragut battlecruisers, is besieging Paresa and has called upon commanders to help rid the galaxy of what Admiral Natalia Lee describes as brutal terrorists. The Admiral declared that if the Empire won't bring the Imperator to justice, then the Federation will. There is as yet no corroboration of the claims about Hadrian's involvement with the NMLA. The Tri-Superpower-affiliated counter-terrorism unit is still analysing the available evidence. The Imperator himself, who is in Dyson City Starport, has once again denied any involvement with the NMLA, and has called upon fellow Imperial leaders to prevent the Federation from imposing arbitrary justice within Imperial sovereign territory.
Federal President Hudson has thanked commanders and federal citizens for their overwhelming support for increased security within the Federation. The Proactive Detection Bureau, which intercepts communications within federal space as a means of detecting crimes before they happen, is unable to intercept some forms of covert communication, and it was these communication data packets that this initiative sought to gather. Hudson declared that he and Vice President Archer are now in a far better position to protect federal citizens from terrorist attack. As a result of the new provisions, federal commanders coming back to reality after weeks spent in the Odyssey Galaxy Simulator have found that their part of the galaxy has changed dramatically. Where once the Federation was run largely on behalf of corporations with little regard for the civil rights of individuals, the Domestic Counter-Terrorism Act now means that the corporations are complaining about their private data being intercepted and no regard whatever is being given to the civil rights of individuals. Ships are attacked and their position monitored, and there are rumours that the new kill warrant scanners given as reward to those who most supported the clampdown on civil rights will be used to report potential wrongdoers to the federal authorities for arbitrary imprisonment without trial. Civil rights activists continue to protest against the provisions of the Domestic Counter-Terrorism Act, which are seen by many to be disproportionate to the threat posed, now that the NMLA's alleged sponsor, Imperator Hadrian Duval, is under siege in Paresa.
The only person in the galaxy who still has access to the Odyssey Galaxy Simulator after Wednesday's shutdown, the so-called head of online at the Pilots Federation, Commander Dav Stott, has dispensed wisdom and potentially also secret messages from the home of the big red button earlier today. Commander Stott manages many thousand hamsters spread across a number of availability zones. These hamsters have different roles. Some of them paint pictures of the galaxy to display on the viewing screen in commanders' cockpits. Others introduce commanders to other commanders as a sort of dating service, or help commanders to buy and sell commodities. Some of them run very fast round their hamster wheels to generate electricity and counteract entropy and the eventual heat death of the universe. Commander Stott is very important because he's the only person who knows how to train the hamsters. He enjoys walking, whiskey, and drawing charts with sigma curves. He's also head of mauve adders, scarlet crates and purple pythons, and as such should be feared by commanders everywhere. As head of online, Commander Stott is the first employee in the Pilots Federation to be in charge of an adjective. And this has started a trend, with Sally Morgan Moore appointed head of pink, and Arthur Tolmie the new head of bald.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Thank you, Commanders Beetlejude and Wotherspoon. Time now for Commander Chix to regale us with another tale from his compendium of the A to Z of Hutton Space. After Haghole and Bonkers over the last weeks, we're going to hear all about the prosaically named LP 532-81. So sit up, pay attention, and no sniggering at the double entendres. Well, just a bit.
In this episode of the A to Z of Hutton Space, we focus on the trinary star system LP 532-81. It lies on the eastern edge of the Taurus constellation and is only 2 arcseconds within it. The LP in LP 532-81 refers to the Leuten-Palomar catalogue recorded by Willem Jacob Leuten, a Dutch-American astronomer in the 1960s and 1970s, using the 48-inch Schmidt camera at Palomar Observatory. Leuten recorded an astonishing 17,000 high proper motion, and therefore nearby, stars in his career. A trinary system containing a red and 2 brown dwarfs, it has the distinction of currently being the most distant Hutton system from Alpha Centauri, at 45 light-years, and lies over 42 light-years from Sol. Have you ever wondered why star systems have hard to say and even harder to remember labels? Why aren't they called easy-to-pronounce names like Jerry Jones, David Davis or Sally Smith? Might it be that either astronomers are rather unimaginative and a dry bunch, or perhaps it is that there are just so many stars that you need a system, a catalogue? Oddly, many nearby stars appear in several catalogues, so may have many names. LP 532-81 appears in no fewer than 16 catalogues, and is also known as GJ 3224, NLTT 10890, and WISE J032542.14 plus 055150.20, to name but a few. The Class M red and the Class L brown dwarfs of the primary pair are each orbited by 3 high metal content worlds, all but one of which are landable for the purposes of prospecting and larking about. No fewer than 5 gas giants orbit the binary pair, all but one of which has rings, and over 2/3 of the 22 satellites are landable bodies. The second brown dwarf lies just under 400,000 light seconds out, with 9 icy worlds and a solitary gas giant. The 2 outposts, Hebe City and Savitskaya Refinery, orbit the second and third planets of the red dwarf, the primary star. They each commemorate early spacewalking pioneers from way back in the 20th century. Richard Hebe, a 3-time astronaut, and the fearless test pilot Svetlana Savitskaya, who was the first woman to travel into space twice, the first woman to walk in space, well, float about a bit, space legs were useless even back then. She was utterly fearless and had completed 450 parachute jumps by her 17th birthday. Each of the stations and 3 of the surface installations are located close to the binary pair, with only Marquess Station situated by the distant third star. The economy of LP532-81 centres on extraction and refining, and with many landable bodies and rings, it keeps the population of 250,000 people busy. Hutton moved in to LP532-81 in March 3304, and the system custodian, Commander Defoe 316, had this to say about the system. Particularly the remote goings-on, 400,000 light seconds out. Marquez Survey was once rumoured for its wild puppy parties that Alvin used to hold in his wilder days. Well, there you have it. LP532-81 is unique in that it is the only system in Hutton space where you can currently get the 200% exploration data bonus for Lee Yong-ri and his discount on ships. However, any data dump worthwhile of the protracted effort and risk of gaining rank 5 with LYR would send the influence through the roof for the foreseeable future, so tread carefully. One of the consequences of this system's sensitivity to influence is that Hutton tends to expand from here, most recently into Caddy, on a frequent basis.
See? Chix is right about paying attention. Do too well in LP 532-81 and he'll end up with yet another station to visit. And the poor chap's really homesick. Still, what can you do? Let's listen to Flossy with the CG News.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's Community Goals News. Last week's CGs support President Hudson or the Shadow President Winters regarding the federal surveillance. Support for President Hudson ended in victory at 23:35 UTC on Monday, with 160 billion and 274 tonnes collected. Support for Shadow President Winters carried on for nearly 12 more hours before being manually ended by Frontier, with 42,471,972 tonnes. And I've just realised Hudson was actually 160 million, not billion. New CGs this week, 6th to 13th of May. Fight for the Federation against Nova Imperium, or Fight for Nova Imperium against the Federation. Open warfare has begun in the Parisa system between Nova Imperium and the League of Mandu, a federal faction. Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval has been accused of masterminding the NMLA starport bombings, according to evidence provided to ACT. Admiral Natalia Lee, commanding the Harmony Shield megaship, declared, "The Empire refuses to arrest a Duval even when he and his organisation are brutal terrorists. In the name of the hundreds of thousands of federal citizens they murdered, we will enact justice." Hadrian Duval made an announcement from Dyson City, the home station of Nova Imperium. "This invasion of Imperial space is based on false information. The Federation does not have the right to act as our judge, jury and executioner. I call upon the Empire to come to our defence, as stipulated in the Treaty of Parisa." Nova Imperium is an isolationist group that believes in retaining imperial traditions and severing all ties with other superpowers. Hadrian Duval is the illegitimate grandson of Emperor Hengist, whose heritage was officially acknowledged last November. ACT is currently working to verify claims that the Neo-Malinist Order of Madrid aided the NMLA on Imperator Duval's instructions. The League of Mandu has asked federal auxiliaries to support its efforts by handing in combat bonds at the Harmony Shield megaship in the Parisa system. Nova Imperium has asked pilots to support its efforts by handing in combat bonds at Dyson City in the Parisan system. The two factions have set out 7-day campaigns, which will end early on Thursday the 13th of May. To be eligible for rewards, you must sign up as an active participant before handing in combat bonds at Dyson City or Harmony Shield megaship in the Parisa system. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do. Thank you very much, Flossy. Now it's time to go over to a pre-recorded segment for the sports results from The Apology Officer.
Welcome to the Hutton Sports Report. The Hutton Sports Report is sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with an iron shirt in case you're meeting a lady friend and your mum hasn't washed the flowery one with a big collar yet. This week we have the following events: the careening off round the stars in an unattached sidecar Explorer Cup, the picking up at every stop so the bus ship behind is empty Charity Shield, the completing your route really quickly so that you can go home for your lunch special award, the Blakey's on the lookout for you stealth challenge, the someone set up a rival bus carrier company conflict resolution trophy, and the getting Olive to the hospital but Arthur's motorbike is broken down challenge. So, ticket machines at the ready, old money only, and if Blakey catches you, then you're disqualified. The classified results are: Mark Santius, 43, Lydia of the Void, 36, Wyvern Sayes, 97, Orange Sidewinder, 45, Orange Sidewinder, 444.5, Not Minier, 231.5, Rampage _ 737, 620, Texas Stew, 302, James the Fox, new record here, 7,872, Shattermage, 1,289, Montgomery Python, 791, Oborax, 710, Elgin City, 2, Bucky Thistle, 3, Fraserborough, 1, Newton Grange Star, 3, Wolf 1481 Thistle, 2, Ross 671 County, 2, Castananari Kittens, 1. The RISO electorates. 2. And that's the end of the classified results. Decals for Wyvern CS and Rampage _ 737. Please email activepart@huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your Hutton decal kit, which this week consists of a bucket of green paint Jack nicked from the workshop and Arthur's old hairbrush. Well, he doesn't need it, does he? We have 6 Hutton runs this week at time of recording. The fastest is Commander Orange Sidewinder with a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes and 2 seconds. This puts them 42 seconds behind the record and in 14th place overall. Are you bored? Are you questioning your life choices since you're not playing the alpha? Then don't. You don't follow the crowd. You're not a sheeple. You're an individual, exactly like all of us. Are you excited by the upcoming launch of Odyssey? Or just generally excited but all over the place because you've had way too much coffee? Well, here's how you can find some focus. Don't sit around, jump around or get up and sit down 17 times a minute. Let the Hutton channel that energy into a laser precise beam of pure productivity. How, you ask? Well, I'll tell you how. Just go to hot.forthemug.com and download or sign up for the Hutton Helper before going out to do that Hutton thing that you do so well. No, not that. That's just weird. Let's face it, anything has to be better than standing around waiting on Stan turning up in the number 11 to the cemetery gates. Well, that's it for this week. Back to Studio 5.
To the decal winners, especially Rampage, who won his decal despite the nasty looks that Mia kept giving him from over her hotbox controller. Time now for Amelia to risk life and limb just for your entertainment. So please sit up as we go into the Galnet Rares Digest.
Now, it would be excellent if I'd paid any attention to Commander Palantir earlier, because Commander Palantir gave me a very useful piece of information before we start this one, didn't you? Didn't you, Commander Palantir?
I did mention it.
You did mention it, and the thing is, I may have actually done it, or I may not have done it, you see. So I
And
thought...
I'm standing by in case you haven't, then.
Is it the one Galnet Rares Digest brackets intro brackets dot diddly doodah?
With fade.
But you see, with fade, you see, I haven't got I missed the fade.
Because the good thing is, if you'd done it with the fade, then what would happen is Amelia would have been able to start much, much earlier, maybe, 20 minutes earlier than she's been able to this evening.
Seamless, guys, really.
Possibly. But if I change it to the one with fade, you see, it might actually work. But not the out. Who knows? But the out one has to be the same, and the in one has. Anyway, this will all be all right on the night. You see. Now, this might
Push
or might
the button.
not. It might or might not have a fade. I don't know how one can tell whether it's got a fade. Should we check?
Because it all goes quiet.
Okay, let's try.
Good evening. This is Amelia Hawke, reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. We try all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous commodities, so you don't have to. Caveman dabbed themselves with some funky red-coloured earth before sitting over a campfire covered in suspiciously aromatic leaves and hummed quietly to themselves in the hopes that it might give them an out-of-body experience, good rain, or maybe just to pass the time of an evening. Humanity has enjoyed decorating itself. Not content with just putting handprints on crudely drawn wildlife on cave walls, or choosing just the right shade of animal pelt to match their shaggy hairdo, human beings turn their eye to one of the easiest to reach canvases, their own bodies. Body art, makeup and tattooing aren't just a personal aesthetic choice. In many cultures, they have religious and symbolic importance. The deep cultural meanings of Southern Pacific facial tattoos, the bold styles of geisha, of kabuki actors, nautical types throughout the ages and their ink, biker gangs, you name it. Groups have used makeup and tattooing as part of their identity. By the 21st century, what was, in Western cultures, a fringe art form became mainstream, with varying degrees of success depending on the talent or literacy of the person doing the art. Having your children's names on your ankle, your favorite computer game character on your shoulder, or that old favorite love and hate across the knuckles if you wanted to look particularly oafish, became commonplace. Fast forward a millennium, and, well, nothing much has changed. Societies throughout space still enjoy adorning themselves with artistic upgrades, using their own skin as the canvas. One improvement, though, has been in the manner in which it is applied, or at least to the tattooing. Gone are the days of a pot of ink, a needle, and a few hours of pain, a few days of feeling a bit scabby, and the hope that the artist could actually spell your loved one's name right. Long past the days of being stuck with a permanent skin reminder of that relationship that went wrong, or that time you realized that plurals don't actually have apostrophes in them. I'm here at the tattoo parlor on Alakarakmo. Not some dodgy, dingy-looking place down some back alley, but a high-tech location that looks more suited to use as a high-class dentist or private medical wing. If you're interested in decorating your own skin, then this is the place in the galaxy to get it done, using techniques hundreds of years old. The locals have created a mixture of bioengineering and microelectronics that makes their tattoos some of the most sought after in the galaxy. Custom designed to suit each customer, they produce what looks like a transparent transfer to apply to the part of your body you want to augment. Similar to those kinds children use to stick fake temporary tattoos to their arms to scare their parents. Carefully applied, then covered with a dressing for 24 hours, once uncovered, they're all but invisible. The artist, who has been hard at work on a pen and tablet combination in their studio, waves a handheld device over the area, and your tattoo comes to life. You can choose what you want: simple monochrome sketches, whirls and whorls of abstract art, and with an update released in 3305, you can now animate your tattoo. You can choose any color you want. You can even have bioluminescent inks activate on demand, powered by your own body's electrical currents. They last a lifetime. Want to change the name tattooed on your lower back, having exited a doomed relationship and started the next one? Just visit the parlor and they'll flash the firmware for you. Want your own Banksy, Picasso, or Van Gogh across your flesh? Just commission your favorite artist or forger, pay the fee, and you have the design you want. What's more, the tattoo can actually read your mood, whether you're angry or sad, and automatically adjust your ink for you. Feeling blue? Your skin can quite literally show it. Anger? And you can flash angrily like an ocean predator warning people away. Covert military operatives often use Alakarakmo skin art as camouflage. Using an implant they can tap, they become part chameleon. Fashionistas have custom face masks made, allowing them to update their makeup at a wave of a wand from their handbag. Though the custom of removing your eyebrows entirely and going with digital ones that match your mood is not to everyone's taste. Your imagination is the limit on these, and you can change your skin art to match the situation. Walking into an important business meeting, tone it down a bit. Out clubbing, turn on the neon flashes and fluorescent colours that throb in time to the beat. They've even been used to write text on your skin, something that is frowned upon by examination boards throughout the galaxy as having all the exam answers written on your forearms or down the length of each finger is the best way to get disqualified. Safer to write "I am a fish" 20 times, stand up, salute, and then pass out, than get caught using skin art to cheat. It's moderately expensive, quite rare as the production facilities are small and they've not shared the tech very widely. The danger? As with any digital technology, you walk near a large electromagnetic field, stand too close to an exploding nuclear device, or have someone touch you with a strong magnet and, well, strange things happen. Your cyberpunk skin tech might just read 404 tattoo not found across your forehead. You might end up all the colours of the rainbow or start alternately glowing, strobing, flashing and pulsing like a storefront Christmas light demo. Powered by your own body, it won't stop until you get to that factory reset, which can only be achieved in Alakaracmo. Woe betide someone who stands too close to an EMP grenade with facial art, as until you catch a lift back, you'll look like the kind of horror that steps out of the static on a 20th century television. I've gone for something tasteful, a simple word on my upper arm, rotating slowly in a band. This is Amelia Hawke, reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest, and I'm trying all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous stuff. Seamless.
Thank you very much once again, Amelia. So this one's quite safe comparatively, isn't it? You know, this week's one. I mean, you've been showing off the word seamless, going round and round.
Yes.
The seam on your arm that they've drawn. It's quite, you know, you have a seamless seam now round your upper arm.
Seamless.
Yeah, and you can speed it up and slow it down sometimes as well.
You can literally have anything you like.
Well,
And you
yeah.
never
I'm
thought
glad
about
we
getting a
just had that-
tattoo?
I thought we had that. Glad we had that explanation because up until now, I thought that's where her arm unscrewed at that point.
It does
thought
rather
it was
look like
just
it's a
irony.
bayonet fitting. You sort of push and twist a bit, and then your arm pops off. You know.
Have none of you ever thought about getting a tattoo?
I do. Well, you see, I have, and it's a very appropriate one because I'm known for being quite absent-minded. You know, forgetting to change things like the fade at the start of the last piece, or forgetting to turn the microphone live until one word after Flossy starts talking.
Or forgetting to put my background music on.
You have background music?
Yes, I do.
No, I've been gone for 4 weeks.
No excuse.
Oh, well, you see, if that's not in the notes, you know, excuses. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, yeah, no, tattoos, yeah. Well, I'm sort of absent-minded, and the only one I would ever get is right where my watch strap goes, you know, the watch face goes, with a little question mark. You know, it's a little stylized question mark right where my watch should be, which when I look down at it is a reminder, you idiot, you've forgotten to put your watch on again. And it would make perfect sense to me because it's discreet and it is an absolute reminder that I'm a Burke and I keep forgetting things.
I do understand that your wife has actually commissioned that for your birthday, but she thinks you won't understand what question mark is, so it's going to be spelt out in full.
What, you idiot, written under my watch strap.
Yes.
I noticed we have a stray cow in the studio, or near the studio, in the green room. He's waving through the glass, and he's paying compliments.
Yeah,
and
he
things,
shouldn't be waving that.
No, don't wave
No.
that. It's not big and it's not clever. But yeah, well, no, it's nice to see Mr. Cow pop in for an evening, and it was actually lovely to chat to him the other day. I haven't spoken to him for a little while, and it was lovely to have a chat with him as well. I did try hunting down the Cymoof, but he's missing in action at the moment. But I do assume that the Cymoof is somewhere. I'm sure Mr. Cow will tell us that the Cymoof is locked away safely somewhere from all the COVID zombies and all those kind of things. But no, it was good to catch up with him. On the tattoos, then, it's not just me that's going to embarrass myself. Obviously, anybody else have a hankering to, you know, have some. Was it Alakaracmo? I thought that was going to trip you up, and it didn't. The Alakaracmo body art there. If you could have an animated digital tattoo somewhere, what would it be?
Ooh. Is that an open question to everyone?
It's an open question. Well, Flossy, of course, has, I mean, ink in places I wouldn't even think to ink.
No way I'd ever have one.
Not even those free ones they were giving away on the Frontier stream earlier. You know, those lovely facial tattoos with the digital layouts on them.
No, I did get one of these temporary ones.
Oh, the
stick-on
henna things.
I had a Hutton Orbital on my arm at one of the.
Oh yes, it was Commander
one of the
Evenstar.
conventions. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he was
That's
spray
the
painting
nearest-
people.
The
Yeah.
nearest I've ever got to it.
Yes. So okay? So the answer is you would and you did, and it was a Hutton Orbital one, but then it washed off.
Yeah.
And how about Commander Palantir?
You can't improve upon perfection.
You're not going to have, if lost, return to Mrs. Palantir, or this way up when you've had too many drinks.
I'd never get that far away. There's no need. This curly thing attached to my arm stops me getting too far away.
Or no, the ball and chain attached to your ankle as well. Then, yeah. But and how about the Chix?
No, sorry.
Not your cup of tea. Not even in the year 3307 with sort of digital ink.
No, sailors are known for having tattoos, and certain tattoos, like for instance, if you have sailed across the Atlantic, tradition had it that you had an anchor tattoo, and I think
Got to say that one very carefully.
And the South Pacific, I think it's a turtle or something. So different oceans, and no.
And Amelia.
I guess if it was going to be one of these futuristic tattoos, do you know the little rotating Type 9 with the mug written around it?
Oh yes, yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have that tattooed on my occipital mapillary.
Okay, that you're going for those of us who haven't swallowed the medical dictionary over at Nurse Wyeth's office. Where would you tattoo that?
Your occipital mapillary. Do you know that little? It's like a little dip in the bottom of your neck, just where
suprasternal
right
notch.
right between your collarbone.
Right, yes, I know the one you mean. Yes,
Little one of those.
Sort of
that
the nape
rotates.
of your neck-ish and a bit lower.
Yeah, about where a pendant
Where
would
Dracula
hang.
would go in for.
Oh, the bit of my neck that makes me shiver when I think about it. Yeah, that bit. Yeah.
That's right.
So roughly where a pendant would hang, it's called your occipital mapillary, the
I
little
thought
indent.
it was called the fossa jugularis sternalis.
Whoa.
Well, that's what it says on Wikipedia.
Well, that's
You
good.
wash your
always thought it
mouth
was
out
my
with soap.
own-
You wash your mouth out with soap, sir. That's rude. That is. Yeah, I'm one
believe
of
that-
those. Of course, you could sell bits. What is it, advertising for companies? Lacon wandering up and down an arm, or you could be walking advertising space to raise a few credits.
Yeah, but you can't see what you're advertising. It could be embarrassing. You never know what kind of product you're advertising. You're walking down the street and saying, "Little blue pills, sir."
What is it?
Full men's 10 handsets, please.
Falcon de Lacy underwear, or at least digital underwear. And yes, you could go
Actually, I suppose
sunbathing with fake clothes on.
Yes, until you get near a transformer and it all goes clear.
Yes.
I suppose you could have a small one on your forearm and use it and watch it as a TV. Maybe if it was that clever.
Well, I don't know what the resolution's like on these things, but I suppose you could. Or I'll tell you what, you could have the Hutton News ticker for when you're out, so you can see tickety tick down your arm what we're talking about.
Well, it depends how hairy your arms are. If you've got hairy arms,
Oh, well,
it would be a bit.
that's hopeless. Then
You keep having to shave your
I'm
tattoo.
all right. And bald.
Well, my head's going that way sometimes, or my chin will be going that way. That's a reminder. Did you mention
yes.
that last week, or did you not mention that last week? I've not had a chance to catch up on my week
We
away.
did not.
No.
So, the time has come. The ridiculous beard that I've been growing for the last 6 months. I grew it especially long, especially for special effects. So on the 30th of May, now that my work is coming back finally after 15 months out of action on my work, I've had my first meetings, and I will be going back on site on exhibitions at the very end of June, start of July. So it's time to get rid of the ridiculous beard. It's gone out the far side of sort of Brian Blessed, and I'm heading into Gandalf territory now. I've grown it for the purposes of shaving it off for special effect. So I put a little fundraiser up. Was it about a week ago now? Stating that there are two goals. If we hit the £500 goal, then it would go back to my usual sort of neatly trimmed short beard. And if we hit the £1,000 goal, then my chin would be going naked for the first time in over 10 years. And
For how long?
For long enough to shave it off. I don't know. It depends how much the wife hates it, I suppose, is the answer to that one. My other half.
She might like having a younger man around.
Well, yes. It will literally take years off my face. And obviously an aid of special effect, as we do. So the other thing is those people donating to the fundraiser get to choose the ridiculous facial hairstyles I go via en route to having a bare chin. So I've already had suggestions by one donor of the Hulk Hogan special, the sort of handlebar thing from the Hulk Hogan.
I think you should go monkey tail.
My brother suggested monkey tail, but then he hasn't donated yet. So I might get away with that one. The twirly moustaches has already been bagged by somebody, so we will be going via the Chix special twirly moustaches.
Could we pay you money to make you not shave it off?
Unfortunately not. That is the only option not available.
Because this is, of course, something you're going to do anyway. So.
Yeah, well, no, I was.
Can we pay to keep the beard and chuck the rest of him away?
Well, yeah, you could do. But because
just getting to that,
because it's very, very likely when I start work, I'm going to have to be masked while I'm dealing with the public. Yeah, so I have to be masked while dealing with the public, and I must admit, having the really big beard with a silly little mask stuck over the top of it does look ridiculous. So it will unfortunately, as a result of work, have to go. But I'm going to say thank you very much to those that did put in. Obviously, I know times are what they are, so don't worry if times like it has been here at home have been tricky. But I think we've just reached £600 for charity for special effects. So thank you so much to those people who've found a couple of pennies down the sofa and chucked in the tin and left snarky comments. And I will be streaming live on the 30th. So Sunday the 30th.
So how about not just shapes but colours? What about different colours?
What about Devil's Goatee?
And I don't mean hiding at home, and I mean for a period of time where you have to go into public with a. I was just going to say pink. How about a pink beard for a week?
Ooh, half and half.
Half and half, Union Jack. In fact, Ollie Phillips did that, the rugby player. He dyed his beard in a Union Jack style and then shaved it off for charity 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, well, I mean, the reason also for choosing the 30th is whatever silliness I do on the 30th, I've got the time to undo it before work. So I have got about 4 weeks to be properly silly with the beard as well. I have pasted a link in it. It's if you go to justgiving.com/fundraising/21beardgoneby. That's BYE on the end. So yes, justgiving.com/fundraising/21beardgoneby. We'll explain. Well, it explains about. Well, we all know about special effect, but it explains the wonderful work that they do and the fact that I don't mind looking stupid for charity. So on the 30th, I'm planning on looking very stupid en route to looking less stupid again, maybe, possibly. It's going to be very weird getting rid of the chin fluff. I've become quite attached to my beard. Beard. But anyway, there are people who've been saying, no, keep it. I can't, and I wish I could.
Do you find yourself you absentmindly fiddling with it and like tying it in little sort of pigtails? Because I've got a bushy beard now as well. I find I'm constantly fiddling.
I know it's a fascinating thing. You see all these people, you saw this mental image of people when they're thinking, doing beard stroking.
I'm doing the same with my long hair.
Well, yes, I'd imagine ladies do that with their long hair as well. But I do find myself doing a bit, and the strokey beard. But yes, it's gone horribly grey, and it makes me look like I'm ancient, and I'm not. I'm a mere youngster, so it will be going. And thank you very much to the Orange Sidewinder for reminding me to put the link up as well. It is much appreciated. Other than that, do we have anything else to cover before the end of the show?
Don't think
so. So how are our dates looking? So next week is the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after is the 20th.
It's the 20th.
After the Alpha.
And we'll already be...
Next week I get my hair cut. Woo!
Hey. Which one?
Oh.
On my head.
Oh, right. Anyway, and so Amelia, I know you were saying about hair. Have you had a haircut since it's been allowed, or are you're hiding from everybody still?
No, I've got mine booked. It's like a 2-month wait before I can have mine cut.
2 months.
Yeah, I know. My hairdresser's kind of...
Because you were saying, I mean, last time I saw you in person, which was well before lockdown, of course, it was short, wasn't it?
Yes, I normally have a boy cut type hairstyle, really short, a bit like my avatar on Elite Dangerous.
Let me just see if I can put that up on the screen for the benefit of... There we go. There's an Amelia on screen now. There we go. Amelia doesn't look like that anymore.
No,
Amelia looks
my
like
hair...
Cousin It. No.
Pretty much, yes. It's currently down to just below my shoulder blades.
So yes, what a difference a year makes and all that. Well, I'm still going with the clippers at home, and I don't want to go to the gentleman's barbers just yet. So I'll be barbing myself at home. I will publish the stream, by the way, of getting the chin done. But yeah, I think all this normality beginning to resume. So talking of normality resuming, so next week is our show again at 8:30 as usual. And then the week after is the show again at 8:30. But Commander Palantir, maybe something special during the evening?
I think we should very much do something special. My intention, it's my turn to push buttons. It's my intention to be streaming it live from the bar at Hutton Orbital.
So if anybody wants to plan to join us on the 20th, and that's in 2 weeks' time, what you need to do is, when you've managed to get your hands on the update on the 19th, and assuming the servers have all calmed down, is on the 20th, we're going to have a Hutton meetup, but not the usual one with spaceships and Flossy dropping things and getting fined. We're going to have a Hutton meetup at the bar on the 20th.
Which bar?
At Hutton.
Excellent.
The bar.
The bar.
The bar.
The bar.
The station.
We will meet our new bar person, whoever they might be, and see how dodgy they are.
Dodgy barman, yeah.
And we'll see whether it's a shiny kind of place or it's all grimy and grungy, and well, we don't know. We've not been there before, so.
If it is clean, it won't be for long.
No, we won't. Not after Cecil's visited. Anyway,
I'm going to do my best. If it's dirty with all that gin stuff behind the bar, I intend to clean that up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'll help you with cleaning up the gin and possibly cleaning up the whiskey. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, friends.
And I'm curious to see, Amelia, which Rares adverts are going to be on the posters at Hutton Orbital as well.
Oh, yeah.
This is the question.
You know, are they going to be Karsuki Locusts Yum?
The mug better be there, put it that way.
We have no confirmation one way or the other whether the Hutton mug as a rare item is on any of the posters.
It should be at Hutton, along with Alpha
yeah.
Centauri gin.
Yeah, the Centauri Mega
Centauri gin.
Well, because we know the Lavian Brandy is in, don't we? The Karsuki Locusts. There's a couple of other rares. I can't remember what they are.
Even if it's nowhere else in the galaxy, it needs to be at Hutton.
Yes. And obviously the other one is going to be looking out the window, because the little orbital ones, you can actually look out the window to the outside world, can't you? It's not into the docking bay. And so we can sort of see people flying past the window. So if you do want to come and see us on the 20th, then you want to be there and ready and leave yourself plenty of time to get there. Otherwise you think, oh, the show's starting, I'll get to Hutton Orbital. Well, do you know what? You're likely to have just missed it.
Yeah. And please don't stand at the bar waving, folding money. It's not very clever. It's not a way of getting the attention of the barman.
No, I think power regulators and stolen weapon schematics are the best way.
There's some tritium to be made here for some enterprising fleet carrier commanders.
Yes, for people who don't want to do the proper journey.
Yeah, I suppose we could run just before the show a quick jump. Yes, so if we have a volunteer who wants to make the quick jump just before the show from Aldin, then
you see the barman going, "Oh, gold, another bloody coach trip,"
Yeah. Anyway, well, other than
kiss me
that,
quick helmets and all that.
Yeah, so it'll be. Is it DJ Funky Norm on the decks next week, or am I double bubbling?
It is. No, it's all right. No, DJ Funky Norm, and then.
Fantastic.
And then safest if it's me the week after, I think.
Yes. So, well, thank you very much to those people who've turned up live on the stream chat and chit-chatted. We've got all the usuals. I mean, there's Carbon 14, XYZ, and Beetlejude, and the Cometborn, and Commander Root, and the Cloud Atlas. Hey, we want to know when the Cloud Atlas is doing the next speed record. as well. We want to see the next speed record too. We've got Ghost Few, Icefire, the Litho Breaker, Nosdus, the Ghost, PBSF Ghost, Mr. Cow, the Rogue G1RL, Torms, Techie Mr. B, Texas Stew, the Orange Sidewinder, VNK, Virgo, Proz, and Wurzel 0210. Oh, and Aiton, and Bitstorm, and people, lots of them. Hello, and goodbye, because it's the end of the show. Amelia, what does it say
For
on
the
your arm?
mug!
For the mug!
For the mug.
For the morgue.
Soonish, she's just said.
Journey too long, the cargo too small. Profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading all the teen out to the brim with the rest for the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, everybody sing the trucker song. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Skibble lights the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin out the frame, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody out. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. You know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. So give me a large path that I can land on, and I'll give you cargo and sing you my song. No point 22 light years to go, cruising to no journey too long, no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud, like you don't even care. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everybody's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?